Now, the deep state, their entire event is coming to an end. Trump has already started the narrative. He's already started the narrative with hydroxychloroquine and other cures. If you notice, he's talking to companies now that have cures, which is very, very interesting. And we can see that the numbers are starting to come down. People are saying that these numbers aren't even real. And Trump, he's continually saying that there's a huge surge coming this week in New Jersey, New York, and the island, Long Island. And what is that surge? If all the numbers are coming down and we have the cure on the horizon, what surge are we seeing? Where is this all of a sudden going to come from? So something doesn't fit, except if you include a mission. And we can see that he is pushing forward with this mission. This is why he said these 2 weeks are going to be very difficult. Because I think during this period of time, he wants people off the streets. He wants people not to cluster because he doesn't want targets for the deep state. We're going to be talking about all of this and going through Q's posts, which tells a story of where we are headed. Now, Trump, he decided to replace Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham with Kayleigh McEnany. And Stephanie Grisham will be returning to the East Wing as the First Lady Melania's chief of staff. And it looks like Trump now has a new White House press secretary. But what's even more interesting than all of that is that Adam Schiff is doing it again. Leaking Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff sent a letter today to acting DNI Richard Grenell, raising concerns he is reorganizing without receiving congressional authorization, asked him to produce info to committee by April 16th. Now, Richard Grenell, he responded to this and responded to Adam Schiff's letter, and he said his letter was sent to the press before it was sent to me. These press leaks politicizing the intelligence community must stop. So now you have someone that is calling him out on all of this. And I do believe they are looking for all these leakers to wrap it all up now. Richard Grenell, he's in there. He is cleaning house. Now, very interesting. We mentioned this yesterday. Hillary Clinton, she does not want to testify. Think about it. Judicial Watch has been pushing and pushing for Hillary Clinton to testify. And if she does testify under oath in a deposition and she lies, well, she's screwed. Because if they have documentation that shows that she's lying, she's screwed. If she tells the truth about her emails, she's screwed that way. This is why she doesn't want to testify. She knows that she cannot testify under oath. She can't answer these questions. This is why she's been fighting so hard to stop this. But the State Department, we know they rejected Hillary Clinton's effort to avoid depositions for herself and her former chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, where they don't want to testify. And she's saying they're actually seeking a writ of mandamus to avoid the judge's orders requiring their testimony in an open records case involving her private email server for government business. And the State Department is not backing her. The blocks are now gone. The rule of law is coming back. And we need to remember something very, very important. And this is going to come back to haunt all of them. Remember when Hillary Clinton, during the impeachment, she tweeted this out? In the United States of America, no one is above the law. Well, look at her actions. Forget what these people say, because what they say is not what they do. When you look at these people's actions, you can see the truth. And you can see what she's really all about. She believes she's above the law. And we've said this many, many times before. When these people talk about, oh, we need to do this, or he's not above the law, or he colluded with Russia. They're talking about themselves. They're projecting everything that they've done onto Trump. But once again, if you're projecting all this onto Trump, you can't prove that he did it. But you can prove they did. Now, very interestingly, we know that the $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus package, it passed, and Trump right now is removing the independent watchdog for the coronavirus funds. And the reason why he's doing this is because he understands that these individuals, they are part of the swamp. Who did he remove? Glenn Fine. He's been around for a long time, and he knows that he's part of the swamp. Do you think he was going to have these funds go to the proper places? Remember, we're under a national emergency. Trump has the ability to place these funds where he believes they are needed. And Trump has just got another win. And this is all starting to fit together now. The Trump administration's effort to resume federal executions got a boost from the U.S. Appeals Court, which tossed a district judge injunction that blocked 4 death penalty sentences from being carried out. Remember, this is what the swamp was trying to stop. They were trying to stop the death penalty. They were trying to stop lynching because they knew, and they know, that when these crimes against humanity, once these crimes come up that have to do with treason, sedition, and everything else, they know what the penalty is. This is why they were trying to stop it. And it looks like they're losing that battle. And I just wanted to head down to the border for a sec to give an update on the wall here. The U.S. Border Patrol announced that 126 miles of the border has been completed. There are 213 miles under construction and 414 miles on pre-construction. And we need to remember that as Trump builds this wall, locks down the borders, everything that they were doing, and I'm not just talking about the illegals coming in, I'm talking about having the gangs come in, that's their muscle, having the flow of drugs come in, that was their cash cow, the human trafficking and everything else, it is all being shut down. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in Q's posts. But first, it seems that Senator Rand Paul announced that he has recovered from the coronavirus, and it seems that he is now volunteering at a Kentucky hospital. He tweeted this out: "I appreciate all the best wishes that I've received. I've been retested and I am negative. I've started volunteering at a local hospital to assist those in my community who are in need of medical help, including coronavirus patients. Together, we will overcome this." Now, we know that Boris Johnson, he was brought into the ICU. He's not on a ventilator. He's on oxygen. It seems like he's doing a little bit better. But during the presser yesterday, Trump was asking different companies to help in the treatment of UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, which I do believe he means he wants to get hydroxychloroquine out to Boris Johnson to help him. Now, if this is done, it will show the world that it works. Listen to what Trump said.
We have made tremendous progress on therapeutics. I had a fantastic call today, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. And I've asked 2 of the leading companies, these are brilliant companies, Ebola, AIDS, others, they've come with the solutions and just have done incredible jobs. And I've asked them to contact London immediately. They have offices in London, the major companies, but more than major, more than size, they're genius.
And as you can see, this is exactly what he's planning to do. He's trying to get this out there to show the world that this can cure him. Now, we'll have to see how this plays out and how it goes. But we know the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, they've been hitting hard at a hydroxychloroquine. And they've tried almost everything, which we'll be talking about in just a minute. But we know what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to use all his pressers, everything that he's been doing, against him. Think about what Schiff is doing right now. He's setting up a committee. They're spending millions of dollars to show that he's incompetent, to show that he he's not telling the people the truth, that he has no idea what he's doing. And they're going to try to use whatever they possibly can find against him when this is all over and said and done. But Trump, he understands this. If you really listen to his pressers, he's talking about helping people, getting the products out there. He's talking about working together. This is going to be a tough fight, and they're going to lose because he already knows their playbook. And it's exposing all of these individuals. Look at Bill Gates. Look at the Federal Reserve from St. Louis. Look at the corrupt politicians. Bill Gates is pushing for a vaccine. The other day we said the St. Louis Fed, he wants us to wear a patch. Actually, Bill Gates is going a step further. He wants digital certificates, which will identify who received the COVID-19 vaccine and who didn't. They want to mark us. This is about exposing all these individuals. And this is exactly what it is doing. Now, Margot Cleveland, she showed the evolution of the media against hydroxychloroquine. This is what she tweeted out. Evolution of the media's anti-Trump hydroxychloroquine spin would leave even Darwin dizzy. Trump giving Americans false hope. Trump peddling snake oil. Trump made couple drink fish tank cleaner. Hydroxychloroquine might, maybe, be helpful. Trump is in it for the money. And we know that these are all fake, phony, and false. We went over these stories. It's not false hope. The person that drank the fish tank cleaner, she wanted a divorce from her husband. Chloroquine phosphate has nothing to do with a prescribed drug from your doctor. And she had mental problems. And hydroxychloroquine, they've gone through a huge amount of tests. Actually, Dr. Oz is looking at hydroxychloroquine, saying this is a great drug. I mean, one of the side effects is like a rash. And then we have a Democrat in Michigan saying that she couldn't get the drug, and finally she got it, and now she's feeling better. But they're going to use the last one right now, saying that Trump is in it for the money. That's what he's in it for. You mean the president that's not taking a paycheck? The president that has lost billions of dollars in his businesses? So Mike Cernovich tweeted this out. According to Trump's financial disclosure, he owns between 1,000 to 15,000 of Dodge and Cox Fund. The fund has 2.9% of its money in Sanofi. Trump owns 2.9% of BTW, 1,000 to 15,000. Trump owns $29 to $435 of stock. The New York Times that put out the article didn't really do the math. How is he going to make a fortune owning $29 to $435 of the stock? Plus, if you add in that the patent has expired and any company can make this, he's not making anything from this. Don Jr. tweeted this out. Disgraceful of the New York Times to mislead their readers with this false narrative. They purposely left out the numbers, which are publicly available, out of the story because it debunks their BS Trump supports hydroxychloroquine to enrich himself narrative. This is why people don't trust you. Now, take this and swing it around. Let's take a look at Bill Gates. Let's take a look at some of the corrupt politicians that have investments in different vaccine companies. Let's take a look at all of these individuals and see if they're profiting. I bet we're going to see a completely different story. Now, very interestingly, Trump has been tapping India for this drug. And we've come to find out that Trump and Modi, they had a conversation, and it seems that India has allowed the export of hydroxychloroquine to the United States, making an exception to its earlier ban on exports to keep supply for themselves. So once again, keep India in mind, because I think Trump is going to be using India for a lot of manufacturing to take a lot of business away from China and move it into India. I think he's making a huge amount of deals there. Now, very interestingly, Busy All the Time has found something out in the Q post, and this is absolutely amazing. Remember all those strange hashtags in a lot of the posts? Well, this individual decided to take those hashtags, the Q stringers, and Busy All the Time said he took these stringers and took the hash and encode, decoded, and it turns out that these match up with WikiLeaks emails. Let me start with his tweet, and I'll just read a couple portions of it. This is huge, Anons. Check it out for yourselves. We have much, much more than we know. Q stringers and posts and WikiLeaks emails connection. And Anon says, I think I stumbled upon something huge that was right under our noses. So a couple of breads ago, and Anon posted the following. Spoiler, gave us the hash code and then blocked everything out, which contained a code posted on the Twitter page handled by the Assange legal team and its corresponding MD5 hash. Also, he posted his hash and code decode website. Put it up there. So I ran a hash and code on the stringer that he posted, and the search results, the hash code in the Hillary Clinton email dump. This led me to the following email attached, so I decided to give it a shot with some Q stringers, and lo and behold, it works. Not only do the stringers, when hashed using that website, give a hash that corresponds to WikiLeaks emails, but some different stringers connect to the exact same emails. The chance of this happening, coincidentally, is negligent, and such things occur only deliberately. And these are connecting to different emails in different posts. And even if you take just dots or arrows that Q has done, it works out every single time. Amazing. So the question is, we need to round up all those emails, go through them, because Q is pointing to them for a specific reason. Now, Trump, he is going after the WHO, the World Health Organization. We know they're completely corrupt. They're in bed with China, the CDC, you name it. I just interviewed a little while ago Dr. Shiva. It is on the Spotlight channel. He, during the interview, said that this was a coordinated effort between all these organizations. And it seems that Trump now, he is now holding back the funds to the WHO. This is what he tweeted out. The WHO really blew it. For some reason, funded largely by the United States, yet very China-centric. We will be giving that a good look. Fortunately, I rejected their advice on keeping our borders open to China early on. Why did they give us such faulty recommendation? And they also gave us faulty tests. Trump has just exposed them. That's what this is all about. It's exposing all of this. Now, very interestingly, we know that Trump launched a mission during a global pandemic, the Enhanced Narcotics Mission, and sailed ships down to Central America, South America, where we have the drugs come up to the U.S. And it's not just the drugs. Chanel Rion from OANN asked Trump a very interesting question about the mission. And she asked if there are any other illicit activities you're going after. Take a listen to what he said.
Say it.
Is it beyond narcotics? Are there other illicit activities that
Well,
U.S. assets are
there are
targeting?
the activities of human trafficking, and especially with respect to women. As you know, proportionally, it's mostly women. And it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. And there's never been a time like it. And it's because of the internet. And this is all over the world. But for the most part, they're coming through, in this country, they're coming through the southern border. But we're hitting them very hard. They have tremendous illegal trafficking in women and children also, but mostly in women. And it's illegal, and it's horrible, and it's disgraceful. And I've seen things that are an absolute disgrace. And we're trying to knock them out, and we're knocking them hard.
So there's a boom for you right there. It's not just about drugs. There are other missions involved. Now, back up. Think about when Trump said, we rescued a woman who's been kept in another country. We found out it was Honduras. She was tortured and she was beaten, and we brought her back to the U.S. She's a U.S. citizen, and that's all he said. There's a reason why he mentioned this, and I do believe we're going to be finding out very, very soon. Now, let's start with April 7th, 2018, 2 years ago. This is post 1065. Now, this is very interesting. It says the island. Now, everyone believes it's Epstein Island, but we know the surge is happening right now, and Trump mentioned it's pretty darn bad on Long Island. Is he talking about Long Island? That's where the mission is happening. And then it says night with brackets 3. Post 1066. Connection made. Rachel Chandler end. We have grounds. Reverting. Thank you. And there's Rachel Chandler again. 1067. China. Chongqing. Tuesday. It's amazing. April 7, 2018. April 7, 2020. Today is Tuesday. That's just coincidence? I don't think so. Post 1068. It says, coincidence, statistically impossible, pray, day 1. And this was an article. It says Fox News, 2 soldiers killed in a helicopter crash at Fort Campbell. But I do believe that the bottom part of this, pray, day 1, and there's a definite mission going on here. Post 1069. You have more than you know, steel, tech, America for sale, systematic weakening of the U.S., Uranium One, cash flow funnel, inside job, traders, dollars. We are in control. Those awake can see. Post 1070. And Anon says, please confirm or tell us if we were wrong about POTUS weekly address. It's happening, meaning what we all think it means. Now down below it says, talking to you, Anon, we always see it's happening here. The tone, wars in all caps, April showers. Post 1071. Q says, Eric Holder, California. Relevant soon, and I do believe this is coming up very, very soon. Post 1072. Border states are very key, bigger than you can imagine. The pipeline, not R versus D. California special, public will learn. Think about what he just said when Chanel asked the question. He talked about the borders. He shut them down. That's where everything was coming into this country. How? Were they just crossing the borders? Were they using tunnels? We don't know. But he said this is very important and it's bigger than anyone can imagine. And the public is going to learn very soon. Now, this is very interesting. This is post 1073, and it says, listen carefully. Now, I'm going to give you the last part of it because I think this is the most important part of what he's been talking about. The first part is talking about the borders and how we have to shut them down, which I do think is very, very important. But take a listen to the last part of this.
I will not rest until we have secured our borders and restored the rule of law. We will win, and we will win soon. It's happening.
So if you listen to what he said the borders are going to be shut down. The rule of law is going to return. We're going to win. It's happening. And if you listen to what he's been saying at the presser, and you listen to the way he answers questions, most of the time, he's not talking about a virus. A lot of the times, he's talking about the mission, the war, and how we're going after these individuals. And this is why I do believe within these 2 weeks, we're seeing this complete lockdown where he doesn't want the people out on the streets. Now, he's not saying, I'm taking away your rights, I'm locking everything down, but he's making it seem like this is a very bad period because he doesn't want to give the deep state ammunition. Now, do I think these are all the arrests of all these top players? No. He pushed the mission forward to go after the drugs, to shut down human trafficking and the rest. He's removing their power structure right now. Once Trump removed the blocks within D.C., all the swamp creatures, which is still happening, but a lot of the blocks have been removed. This is why Hillary Clinton is panicking right now. This is why all the deep state players are panicking, because everything is being removed one at a time. He's calling out the WHO and everything else and bringing everything back to the U.S. He's exposing it to the public, how it's all corrupt. He's talking about cures. And when he's talking about going after these individuals, because we're fighting a war like we've never fought before, maybe since 1917. We've never trained for a war like this since 1917. He's talking about going after the power structure of the deep state players, going after those invisible enemies that hide behind the curtain, which he's forced out into the public light right now. It is all happening. And I do believe during Q's posts, as Q kept on posting and telling us that it was going to be biblical, where we're going to bring the whole damn thing down, I think that's what Trump is doing right now. He's bringing the entire thing down. Their entire pyramid is now crumbling.